In deep anchorages that are either small or crowded, we occasionally need to anchor with shorter scope than might be considered ideal. In 25 years of cruising, we have very rarely dragged our anchor, but I have never been able to actually watch our anchor on the bottom in such deep water to see if the weight of the chain made much difference. Here it's 50 feet deep, and we have 165 feet of chain down. A lot of weight, but the scope is just 3 to 1. We start our test with the engine astern at 2,500 RPM, simulating winds over 30 knots. Although the chain enters the water at a steep angle, this is the effect of the 250 pounds of chain. The chain hangs in a curve shape called a catenary curve. The weight of the chain makes it pull down at a steep angle by the bow and parallel to the bottom at the anchor. The weight of the chain is holding it so low that it nearly touches the seabed for the last 10 yards to the anchor. I go down to take a look at it 50 feet underwater. The water is nice and clear for testing here in the British Virgin Islands. Note the chain is nearly parallel to the bottom and we are driving in full astern. We re-anchor to run the test again, in this case in 40 feet of water, plus 5 feet to the bow, for a total of 45 feet bow to bottom. We've laid out 145 feet of chain, which weighs 220 pounds. Our engine simulates 30 knots of wind in full reverse, but what about simulating stronger gusts that allow the boat to build up momentum and jerk back harder? Cheryl lets the boat drift forward, then puts the engine in hard astern so we build up speed before bouncing back. This is not a precise test, since the speed we attain in reverse will vary with each run, but it will make much greater forces than just slowly running up to full throttle astern. Cheryl puts the engine in full astern. We develop some sternway and momentum before the chain comes up taut. Cheryl describes the motion as similar to being in a gale at anchor.
Man, that anchor just works so fantastic. It really sets in. That is amazing.
Underwater, I watch the chain lift up off the bottom. It is coming up at an angle that actually raises the shank a little. The anchor moves about 12 inches back and digs in deeper. I wonder if this would have been the same with our old CQR anchor. It might have possibly pulled out and dragged, but the 73-pound Rocna held on well. Now Cheryl extends our scope to 52 meters, 3.7 to 1. The extra scope makes a big difference here as the shank doesn't quite come up off the bottom. The anchor barely moves this time. In normal conditions, an all-chain road will allow reduced scope in deep anchorages. Do not try this unless you are anchoring on an all-chain road. We find 3 to 1 scope to be okay for anchoring in 50 feet of water. Increasing scope to 4 to 1 will be better and would be a good idea if strong squalls were forecast. Even an increase to 3.5 to 1 will make the anchor more effective. Thanks for watching this Distant Shores how-to segment. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Are you interested in the cruising lifestyle? Are you planning to sail away on a cruising adventure? Or researching cruising areas and destinations? Distant Shores is a television series about the cruising life, with lots of tips for sailors planning to sail away.
This is Oswego, New York. We are entering the Erie Canal system, and this will take us all the way from Lake Ontario to the Hudson River, which gets us to New York City.
Plus destination information to help you make your cruising plans.
Yeah, I can stand on the bottom.
We've been filming distant shores for nearly 15 years and know the fun and challenges of the cruising life. We've made Distant Shores with you in mind. We include plenty of cruising tips in this travel series, as well as lifestyle segments and hints for sailors heading to exotic destinations. Encouragement for you and your crew to get out cruising. Destinations include the Intracoastal Waterway, the Bahamas, Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Scandinavia, transatlantic passage making, the French canals, and more.